Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
All right, audience of one, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Right here on 106.1, 104.5, and irlonestar.com. Of course, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, if you search Audience of One with Andrew and Dick. I am your host, Chief Maximus.
I like it.
Yes. Chief
I'm Dick.
Maximus. No. We're not just going to go with that today. If I'm Chief Maximus.
I'm Chief Dick. It's one word, Chief Dick.
Well, you're the guy, my sidekick, always next to me.
Yeah.
The man who never takes off his bathing suit.
You know what I realized is I never take off my jacket.
Yeah, that right now is true.
Well, I mean, like, if you look at other shows I've done, like, I look at me, I'm like, man, I'm always in a jacket. What's that?
It's a little chilly today.
Yeah, the weather has been interesting. Yeah.
The winter came back for a day, but no, this is the man that never takes off his bathing suit.
Yeah.
Right? You're not a legacy guy, but yet your name, Richard Price Schisler IV.
Yeah, you know what?
Which we learned last week.
I'm trying to get more badges for my Boy Scout stuff, so I've been spending every night outside since our last episode.
There you go.
But it's a heated tent, and I'm going to show up that kid. I'm like, hey, you want to see what living outside's like? Let's make it real.
I heard something on this, actually. Now that you bring this back up.
Oh, God.
You remember you asked if it was a competition or if he was doing this for notoriety or something. I said, I thought there was one other kid. Apparently that kid said, I'm done. The other kid.
The other kid.
Yeah, the other kid. I don't know who it is. He said, yeah, I'm going back inside, bro. So I guess this Ortman kid from Minnesota that we were talking about, I guess he's now the world record holder. So it makes me wonder how much longer he's going to continue. I just literally thought of that when you said that. So.
Well, you know, speaking of record holder, did you read recently that I forget her name, of course. She's a local radio personality at K-Star here in the Conroe area. She's the longest running female DJ.
Wow.
She's been on the air for like 60 years.
Oh, my God.
Or something like that. Mary McCoy. If you're in downtown Conroe, there's a huge poster of her on the right across from Moko Fu Hall.
Okay.
It's on the wall of 202, and that's her. And I was like,
that's really impressive.
And I didn't even think about that because I was like, I've heard of her. Like when I first started the radio station here, I've heard of her.
60 years.
And she has, I looked at her history. It's amazing. And she's been here the whole time. It's not like she traveled.
Yeah, I mean, this type of industry, you bounce around it a lot, especially if you're going to make this your career.
I think her name's Sarah McCoy or Mary McCoy or something like that. But yeah, you should look her up.
Well, if you're going to give her a shout out, you probably should have known her name.
Well, you know, I was thinking of world records, and it's cool to say world record local because that kid, I don't care about that kid. That's not a world record. I don't care. What everyone says to me, that's not a real record. But
there's records for everything.
But if people have noticed, we have a new desk. We're kind of figuring out right now, and
everything's a little off.
It looks beautiful right now.
It's pretty. But I'm rolling away, and my mic's in a different spot, and it's a little uncomfortable, but we'll make it work, man.
Do you think there's a chair specialist out there, like a therapist, who just knows, like you describe your chair to them, like, I know what chair you need?
Oh, I guarantee. I see advertisements on TV for like X chair, and it's supposed to be like the smart chair, the next generation or something.
Well, I need someone to tell me what the right chair to get for the studio is, because these chairs suck.
They are not. They are not good.
It's amazing how many people sit in them, but then after a while, I know there's one chair among the 5 out there that's a little off center to the left. So when people sit in it, they lean.
Yep, that was the one I was in originally, and I had to switch it out.
I was like, but what I like doing, I keep putting it in different positions, so people, it's not always the same.
It's not always in the same spot.
People, you always get that one person like, what the heck?
Yes.
But yeah, so we had a new desk installed. Some cords are everywhere.
There's some down here by my feet.
I think when
cameras are in
when I
spots.
get it all figured out this upcoming week, because it was installed yesterday, that we will show it to the audience on the next show.
Oh yeah. I think for sure it's gorgeous. You did a really good job on it, man.
Oh, I didn't do it.
Well, you coordinated. Take some credit.
Bob the Builder did it.
Well, take some credit on it. It looks great.
I want to give him a shout out. Bob Cruz. I don't know. Of course,
Really
I don't.
is Bob the Builder.
I don't really know what his company's called. I wish I did. I told him to send me that stuff so we can give him shout outs because people are asking like, "This is beautiful. Who did this?" I was like, "Oh, my buddy. He's a carpenter. He's a cabinet maker. He does all sorts of stuff." And if you look at this desk, it's custom made to fit for all of my Andrews.
Yes, right.
So,
Your many Andrews.
Many
have.
Andrews
There's
I have.
only one of me. You know it.
But yeah, this is episode 4, if I remember.
Yeah,
correctly.
man. I think I'm losing track, but I think 4.
I want to remind folks too who are listening to this. I'm starting my morning show starting tomorrow, which we record on Sundays, so people know it's like So on Monday through Friday, I'll be here every morning from 8 to 11, and then of course on Wednesdays for Audience of One, that's the end of my morning show is us, so I don't have to go on the air. We have our show. I'm really excited about that. And
I didn't authorize you to advertise your show.
Well,
on
I want
my show
people.
here. What's going on, man?
I want people to know it's me, so they don't get freaked out. Like, oh my gosh, he went back in time, and now Andrew's there. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
So, because people do get weirded out when they hear me for 2 hours, and then all of a sudden it's like, Andrew, Audience of One. What is this? What is this? So, but I like this show. It's a lot more fun than just sitting there doing the weather. And
That's what this is all about.
And one thing I've learned is I have terrible taste in music, because so the premise of the show, morning show, is 8 to 11. If I don't have guests, I'm not going to sit here and just jabber on.
Right.
So I'm going to play music.
You better come up with some
And I'm like,
stuff,
that's so
man.
much music.
That's a lot of music to fill.
So I think I might just do like, Maroon 5 for 10 hours. And
On a loop?
On a loop. Just one song. But yeah, no, I realized that because I was trying to build my library. And because, we are a radio station. We're 24/7. But we have automated country music when we're on the air, and I can't tell you how much I love country music after doing that. Because
building that library up.
Well, because imagine doing 10,000 songs of music you kind of like, but you don't really know anything about.
Sure.
And I hate it now. I hate country music just because I hear it every day,
Sure.
and I'm like, I don't.
Well, maybe you can do a little format change.
Well, if anyone's listening and wants to be a DJ, we have volunteer positions, so you can schedule music, so I don't have to do it. But I know you got this whole show ready up.
Yeah, man, of
so
course.
let's get in it.
I think first we need to dedicate this show, honestly.
Okay, we're dedicating
this
this
is going to be
show.
our first show dedication, and this goes out to all Portuguese men named Tom.
Yeah,
if you're out there, guys, we feel you. We understand your plight. Audience of One is with you, and this show is dedicated.
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on, and if you don't know what that is, that's a reference to our last show. You'll just have to go back and listen to it. But anyways, you know what? Another thing I wanted to say.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So I got to tell you, man. Do I look a little different to you? No,
You're on estrogen.
No, just my normal amount.
Something's popping out.
No, I thought I covered that up. No, I'm on the collagen peptides.
I have no idea what that is.
Well, if you remember back from a few weeks ago.
Oh, is that the powder stuff?
It is. So what's funny, right? I was complaining the other day about my elbow. Just like tendonitis. Oh, this hurts,
no one realizes you're like 82 years old.
I am.
So.
And I've got some really bad tendonitis in my left elbow. And Brandon on my bowling team said, oh, you know what you need to do? You need to take some of these collagen peptides. And I went, why does that sound familiar to me?
It's collagen.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah.
That's what that billionaire guy is trying to do as part of his regimen to make him look younger or whatever. So I started the collagen peptides. He told me it's supposed to be good for your hair and everything, but also like your ligaments and joints and things. So
what does it
I'm
taste
just
like?
Gonna keep,
is it like plastic?
No, it's basically if I put it in water, it tastes like extremely, extremely diluted beef bouillon cube. But it's But I put it in my coffee. And you can't taste it at all. It's
wonderful.
very, very slight. So I'm going to keep taking it. I'm going to come in here in a few weeks, and I'm going to be unrecognizable, basically. I'm just basically going to look like a zygote.
Yeah.
That's what I have a feeling.
You'll be coming in bike shorts. And it's like, I biked here. I can use my body again. So I'm biking to the studio.
I'm hoping so. I haven't had any benefits from it now after, 4 days, but 5 days, however long. But yeah, I'm on the peptides, bro. I'm on the peptides, yeah.
Who recommended that? The internet did?
No, Brandon from well, he probably did too. No, Brandon from my bowling team. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Guys, I actually would believe anything Brandon, because I know who Brandon is, and he's jacked.
Yeah, he's big.
So if you told me, like, hey, you need to eat livers, and you can look like me, I'm like, all right, I believe you. I believe it.
Yeah. Well, hey, we got a little bit of listener feedback, too.
Oh, great.
By the way. Yeah. So,
am I too close to the mic?
This comes from... This comes from a listener named Gerardo Garcia, by the way. And I'm assuming that Gerardo represents the entire Hispanic community at large. And if he doesn't,
you usually do.
Then I'm going to assign him.
Every leader of the Hispanic community I've met named Gerardo.
Okay. Well, I think he actually goes by Jerry. So, anyways,
So he's a liar.
No, he's not a liar.
So what did Jerry have to say?
Well, he said that there actually is a workaround for naming your child R2D2 in the Hispanic community.
Oh.
And I said, this is interesting. He said, yeah, it's actually Arturito.
Oh, great. I like that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's a wink, wink, nod, nod thing. If your child is named Arturito, it's, you know what I'm doing. I'm working the system
languages.
here.
Beauty of. I bet Tom has another word. You know.
I love it.
And well, you know what? Speaking of feedback, we have an email address if people want to email us, or we have Facebook. So message us if you have a comment, question, or suggestion. Especially Andrew looking up all these terrible articles about kids. We need more articles to talk about stuff. So
if you have some suggestions.
It's audienceofoneshow@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And it's in the description below and all the contact stuff. So feel free to reach out.
Yeah, well, with this show pretty much has a theme today, though, and that's going to be money, money, money.
Okay.
Yeah. Dick, do you like money?
I don't have any of it, so I don't really know.
Do you like it, though?
It makes my wife happy, so it makes me happy.
Samesies, me too.
She's convinced that if I was by myself, I'm content with the studio. Like she goes, I can see you living here.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah,
it's got a nice desk.
Yeah, I mean,
air conditioned.
I can do everything. I got my own private bathroom.
Yeah.
And there's no shower in there. I was kind of disappointed they removed the shower.
You can sink shower it.
So
wait, they removed it? There was one?
Yeah, there was a shower. I was pumped for that. I was like, oh yeah, there's gonna be a shower. Yeah. But
no, this show's going to be about money. I think, or at least the first half of the show is going to be about money.
Okay.
So this story caught my eye. Apparently, this last week at the international. Well, I guess it was at the Houston Livestock and Rodeo.
They have a lot of stuff goes on
this
there.
International Houston wine competition.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
I had never heard of it. I've never actually been out to the.
If you didn't know anything about the rodeo, especially here in Montgomery County, they do a lot of competitions for random things.
Mm-hmm.
Like here in Montgomery County for the upcoming in April, they'll do like a cake. Who has the best? It's like for kids.
Yeah.
But then they'll rate cattle. Then they'll rate pictures of paintings, photography, like this most random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite one they rate, I don't know if they're doing this year, is it's a 4-H club. They build trailers.
Oh, cool.
So these kids build custom trailers. So you go out there and it's all custom. They're like, oh, I built this to move sheep, and this is how I built it. And I was like, this is kind of creative. But yeah, the Houston Livestock has even more stuff.
Yeah, apparently they have this international wine tasting competition. Yeah. Pretty hoity-toity from what it sounds like. Well, anyways, there was a bottle that was sold. I think or purchased, not sold. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's the same thing. Just this past Sunday in our fair burg of Houston. And this bottle apparently is 50 cent, the wrapper, 50 cent champagne.
Let's see if
It's not necessarily wine, it's champagne. But the name of this is Le Chemin de Rue.
Here, I'm going to pull it up for the audience.
It's a brute. Of course it is.
Look at this picture of this.
Yeah. So this won the Grand Champion Best in Show award. And it beat out over 3,000 other entries, which is pretty crazy. So I didn't know 50 Cent was into making wine, but I guess as many rich people are, that's something they do on the side.
Yeah.
You seen that picture there? Do you have that brought up?
Yeah, bro. I was showing it to them.
Boy, that's an interesting picture. He looks. I'll just let that picture speak for itself. He just looks like he's not the most comfortable in that shot. Just gonna throw that.
Well,
out there.
it kind of gives you a great example of how the Houston Livestock Rodeo is reaching in Houston.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to do everything. They're already running out the facility. Let's just bring us anything we can do. And if you didn't know, 50 Cent lives in Houston.
No, I guess I didn't know that.
So that's
okay, so there's the connection.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's some shenanigans going on there.
So
well, apparently he bought his own bottle of wine while not his own bottle. He bought a bottle of wine while he was there for $165,000. Yeah, that is nuts. But see, I don't understand this
wine
though.
People are weird, dude.
Yeah, they are weird. And so here's what I don't understand about this. It says that his bottles of wine, the Le Chemin de Rue, and I'm probably completely mispronouncing that, but I don't speak French in case you couldn't tell. It says it retails for $159, and that the Brut Rosé is priced at $350, but yet he sold them for what was it, $350,000? I don't understand that.
Do you know why they sell this kind of stuff at the rodeo? It's a fundraiser for
It's a tax write-off.
No, it's for scholarships. That's the whole concept of the Houston Livestock and Rodeo is all the money they raise goes to scholarships.
Because I understand people are into wine, they collect like really fine wines, maybe rare ones, but when I saw this, I'm like, this looks like something you can go buy at the Specs.
It's a donation. Like, they're donating. So they're supporting a kid. I know, like here locally, children can raise animals, and so whatever they sell it at the auction, that money goes into their scholarship fund, their own. I
Yeah.
think the Houston one is like one big pot, so it's like it gets divvied up
Sure.
to different people.
Okay, now that makes more sense.
But here locally, like I met a kid who literally raised an animal in every entry every year at the county fair here, and he doesn't have to pay for school.
It's awesome.
Because he raised like $80,000.
You like rodeo?
Yeah, I love.
Yeah, so do I. I have
My
not been to the
my
Houston
brother's a
one,
rancher,
but
so I used to go with him like San Angelo and other places where he roped and, like he did riding.
what's your favorite event?
My favorite event is when the kids go out and they try to tackle.
Oh, like mutton busting?
Yeah, because they
Mm,
get
riding on
thrown
the-
around.
Yeah, they
It
do.
is hilarious.
That's not real rodeo, though.
But
is it?
that's fun though,
Oh,
because
no,
it's
it's
like
fun.
these little kids have no, coordination. They're like,
No, it's awesome.
go try to grab one of those. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah.
And then they get busted around. Other than that, I think barrel racing's fun, but I wish it was longer. I wish most of the rodeo events were longer because 8 seconds. I know riding a bull probably
Yeah.
seems like a long time, but for us, it's like, okay, cool, he did it. And
Yeah, no, I think bull riding probably gets the majority of the attention because it's bull riding
yeah.
for crying out loud, and it's crazy. That'd be an interesting guest to have one of those guys on. They're probably nuts.
I wish we could go hardcore where like
But-
shoot bow and arrow from a horse. Like that would be awesome.
That would be cool. Oh man,
'Cause like
it'd be like the X Games of rodeo or something.
Well, like like in Spain they do the bull riding, and they do the bull. What do they call it?
Running of
What?
the bulls.
That's an event. I'm talking about like they have like every week
bullfighting.
bullfighting.
Yeah,
That's what it's
that's
called.
brutal, man. That
But
stuff's
so they would
nasty.
never do that here.
Yeah.
But I mean I enjoy the whole day.
Yeah, I love it. So I think barrel racing, and I like calf roping. Calf roping is funny, especially when you get the two guys and you get one of them gets on the head and the other one
Yeah.
gets the
And they
hoof,
gotta get off and- yeah.
and that calf gets strung up like he's on a
And
spit.
that's talent,
It's
man.
awesome.
But
it is not
the
easy to
whole
do. I love
event
all
is
of it.
fun.
Yeah.
Houston Livestock and Rodeo is fun, but it sucks to go to now because it's so big.
Sad-
I
yeah.
like going to the small rodeos. Like the rodeo here is in the midweek, or actually, if I think about it now, because if you didn't know, I don't know, you ever been to rodeo here?
No, that's what I was saying. I have
Yeah,
not been to
so
Houston.
what they
Livestock.
do here is similar to the Houston Livestock. Well, they'll do a whole week dedicated to different events.
Are you talking about the one here locally? I
Locally,
have not
yeah.
been to that one
So
either.
Montgomery County, so like they'll
I'd have
have
to go, man.
like the Friday and Saturday they'll have live bands,
Yeah.
and then that kicks it off. And then I think the rodeo is on Saturday.
Cool.
And then throughout the whole week they do like the auctions, the kids stuff, the 4-H stuff, all those things. And then on the last weekend is the barbecue cook-off, which is a
Right.
huge deal. You ever been to the one here?
You've asked me like 3 times now.
Well,
I know.
no. The reason I'm asking is because people
I have
don't
not.
connect it. They think the barbecue cook-off is
Mm-hmm.
a standalone thing that's just once a year, but no, it's part of the whole week.
No, I haven't
And
been.
people don't know. They don't realize because we used to broadcast it there, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't even know this was here during the week." I'm like, "Yeah, there's all this stuff, cool stuff going on, and it's free. They have a carnival and all that kind of thing." But a lot of people associate the barbecue cook-off as separate because people who are doing that are doing it for competition. It's a competition, so they don't really think of it as the rodeo. They don't think of it as all the other stuff.
It's all together.
And have you ever been to a cook-off?
Yes, I have.
You
I
ever-
had a friend in college that was actually a competitive cooker, and those are
Yeah.
fun. They stay up all night cooking the briskets,
yeah.
preparing them. They've got this whole process they go through, and they do beans and brisket and chili and all
I
kinds
think
of stuff. It's
the
crazy.
one out here, they do like 152 teams. The one in Houston, I think it's like 300 something teams.
It's incredible.
And then like I went to the one in Navasota, and there were about 52 teams, which is
guys
nice.
get really
it's
into it,
nice
man.
size. I like the Navasota one a lot because there's like you get to meet everybody. Everyone's very personal. The one here is so commercialized in a sense, like you can't go into every booth. You have to have like a pass or something. But go to the Navasota one, everyone's, "Hey man, come on over here."
Right.
One time I went to the Navasota one, and this dude was skewering a crocodile, like a full crocodile,
Oh,
and he was like, "Yeah, just
my.
grab a piece."
no.
And I walk up to it, pulled off a piece.
Guess what? It tastes like chicken.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But this is cool. You walk in, you see an alligator being
Yeah, that's
rotated, and you're like, "Man, where are we?" We're in Navasota. That's why.
It's normal there,
Shout out Navasota.
right? For all our listeners out there.
But money. So we got.
Yeah, well, we were talking about money,
Yeah.
but then we kind of got sidetracked with the livestock show. Well, obviously, 50 Cent's still making money. He's able to buy a bottle for $165,000 himself. He may have been hit with a few shells and walk with a limp, but he still got some cash.
Well, it's
so-
a donations to write off.
Yeah, and he was on the Super Bowl last year, wasn't he? That's performing like with Snoop and
Mm-hmm. I thought
Dre and
when I
Snoop.
watched that, I thought he got lost because he's upside down, and I was like, they forget to put him up, and then someone told me it's like, oh, that's in the music video.
Yeah, he looked a little different too. I know he
'cause
he caught some flack because
he looked a little big.
He was a little heavier, but you know what? He still looked like he could.
I think he
do
do
some
whatever he
damage,
wants.
man. You can
I
throw
like
some
it.
haymakers. Well, anyways, did you? Speaking of money, staying on this topic of money, did you hear the story about the $2.4 billion Lotto winner? Because remember that was the big story at the end of last November.
Million or billion?
Billion with
Okay.
a B. That was the single largest ever Lotto prize, and it was claimed by one guy.
Nice.
Yeah. So he finally came forward. This was probably a couple weeks ago to claim his prize. It took him 3 months. Probably went through the process of getting lawyers. And
So
all
it's the
this
guy
stuff.
they found.
Yeah, Edwin Castro.
Oh, we know his name now. Great.
Yeah. So Edwin Castro, and but he. So this is interesting about when you win the Lotto like this. Some states allow you to stay anonymous.
Yeah.
And others they require you to come forward. And he's from California. They require, if at a minimum, your name is out there, which kind of sucks. I guess the idea there is to promote the Lotto, like to humanize it, to say, look, this is a real person. He's a real winner.
I like
Here
hearing
it is.
what their occupation is.
I don't know what he did before. He didn't show up. So if he
Typical.
he did not show up. He did not want his face out there. But they had to put his name out because of the California law. So he won $2.4
So he still get his
billion,
money.
or $2.04 billion. Yeah, and he took the lump sum. So it was probably only like
$1 billion.
Yeah, $1 billion, and then after taxes, he's only getting like $700 million. Whoa, how is he ever going to survive on that? But what I think is funny is apparently somebody else came out and said, yeah, he stole that ticket from me.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, it's mine. And so apparently California's having to shoo off stories of people coming forward saying, hey, that was actually my ticket. And they have a whole vetting process. But yeah, apparently this guy, Jose Rivera, claimed that he purchased the winning ticket.
And how did the other guy get it?
And this other guy stole it, whose name was Reggie. No, who the hell's Reggie? I don't. That name didn't even come up. I don't even know who that is. But he's trying to claim that this guy, stole it from him.
Better back it up with some evidence, dog.
Man, yeah, exactly. And of course he has nothing. But I played this game before throughout at different periods of my life with coworkers or friends. Like if you were to win the Lotto, how much would it take for you to just double bird everything and say I'm done? Because if you won $100,000, that's great, but you're going to have to keep working, especially at your age. And so I like this. I like this scenario because it depends on how old you are. It's going to vary. If you're an older guy, obviously you're probably going to need less money. If you're younger, you're going to say more. If you got a family, don't have a family. But I remember playing this game years ago and what my number was and thinking about what it is now.
Squid Game.
What do you think? You're so evil. You're so evil.
I'm kidding.
Now, what do you think at your age now? What are you, 73?
Oh, my wife would be extremely happy.
Now, how much would it take for you to just say, I've got enough to live on? What dollar amount would it be?
I think technically today, I was reading about this. It's funny you say this because one of my buddies does a lot of investing, and I was asking him, like, what's your plan here? And he's like, well, for a household of 4, like 2 kids, wife, you need at least $3 million in the bank to like retire off of.
So there you go. His number was $3 million.
So they got go to school. They have money. They have money to buy stuff like a car every 10 years and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think $3 million was like his estimate for 2 kids. That. So
I'm guessing he's like a 40-year-old guy or something like that.
No, he's my age.
Okay.
A little under 40. He's almost there.
Getting there. Approaching it. Needs some collagen peptides.
He's.
Very soon.
I want him actually to play golf with our friend Pat because this guy's good at golf.
Okay, yeah.
And I love watching people who are good at golf play each other.
Rather than watching me slap at it?
Oh, yeah. Me. Well, I'm like, I'm 110 average, but like he's probably like 200 par, and I'm like, let's get them playing good people and let's watch them hate each other. But no, the money, I think, just it kind of depends on what.
Yeah, it's your lifestyle
what you want to do.
What do you want to do? That's why I'm asking you because it really, again, there is no right, wrong.
I'm already retired. I'm here.
This is your retirement plan?
Mentally, not financially. Sponsor the show today. No, I think $3 million. I think the millions would make me feel good, but it's also kind of like I want more money to do more things with it.
There you go.
Like if I had the $1 billion, I'd be doing this studio would be the coolest place. No one have to worry about stuff.
If you had $1 billion, you ain't doing this. I'm sorry.
I'm doing this. I love this.
You think?
I love
this.
That's
I'm glad to hear you say that. I think when I played this game earlier in my life, probably 10 years ago was the last time someone asked me that.
I get leather seats in my car.
Dude, that's an upgrade. Fancy.
I wouldn't get a sunroof though. Sunroofs are horrible.
Yeah, and they can leak, I suppose.
They break, and it's like you got to deal with that crap.
I think I said something like $10 million last time I played it. I say played it. You know what I mean? When someone asked me that question. But it seems like the older I get, that number just slowly kind of comes down because really I need less because in theory there's less time of me being here on the earth. And then I just think I don't need all these fancy things. It seems like the older I get, the less satisfaction I get out of them anyway. So I think my number's 4. So when you said 3, I'm like, that's pretty interesting because hopefully I've got 30,
like that
30
was my
40
friend.
years worth of
if it
life
was me,
left.
I need like $1 billion because I'm gonna spend it.
Okay, so you're still in that area.
I'm buying stupid
when I
stuff.
was 20 something, I probably would have said I need $40-50 million because then you're going to want to live like a socialite. You're going to want to go out and do all the fancy things that rich people do. The older you get, the more you're like, I just don't want to do anything and not have to worry. And so you need significantly less money.
Yeah,
to
my
do
lifestyle
that.
is like I don't want to stay in hotels. I'll just buy a house wherever we're going, so we have a house.
Everywhere you go, you just buy
everywhere
a
I go, I'm
house.
just buying houses. No, I'm just kidding.
I think $4 million would probably be good for me because then I could live comfortably. But now you're not going to be, living the high life. You're not. That's not uber wealthy by today's standards. But that's like the minimum amount I think I could live conceivably well on for the rest of my life and
We'll
be
sponsor the show today. Let's see. Let's give us $3 million. Let's see what happens.
Oh man, I got a hypothetical for you. Okay,
Yeah.
stay on this money thing. I just thought of this. So, for $500,000 a year, no, let's make it $1 million. For $1 million a year, this is your salary. Somebody offered you $1 million a year
Net
for
or
the net. Let's say after taxes. Okay,
Yeah.
for the next 10 years. Okay,
Okay.
but you have to walk around everywhere carrying a golf bag like a caddy. Okay, everywhere. Think about this now. You got to carry it everywhere, and on top of it, once throughout the day. At some point, one time during the day, you got to pull out each club and you got to clean it and wipe off the.
So are you saying like if I was going to the restroom right now, I had to put my bag up and go to the restroom
you got to pick
with
that
it?
thing up, okay? And then once a year, probably in April, you got to wear the white Masters get up, okay? Those are the rules. Would you do that?
Caddies get paid $1 million? Are you going with this?
Some of them do. No, that's not where I'm going with this.
Okay.
But some of them do. No, in my hypothetical, would you, little Ricky?
No, I would not do
you
that.
wouldn't do it. I'm surprised. I figured you'd be like, sure, I'll do it. Sure, I'll do it.
No, I don't want to carry around that crap.
I know that would suck. I wouldn't do it either, but I just figured somebody like you would do it. Okay, $2 million?
I think if you're making me do that, it would have to be like $1 million a month.
Oh,
That way I know it's worth it. Like, all right, so it's not like a year. Like I do this for a year. Like I can just get millions. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. See you later.
Brings up an interesting point though too. So now that means you're making like $12 million a year. Okay, $12 million a year.
'Cause I would
Now you're
quit.
starting to make that type of money, like we're talking about. You want to be a socialite and go out to the parties and fancy things.
But
You
I
walk in and you're carrying your clubs. You're like, what's with this guy carrying the golf club? You got to set him down and you're drinking your little drink. You got to
Oh, it's got a
pick this up
cooler
to
in
go-
it, man. We're good.
That would be horrible.
I had the umbrella, and it actually seems more reasonable to be carrying it because you can put all other stuff besides golf clubs in it. Like you have your umbrella, so you always have an umbrella on you.
Now you're looking at the positive side.
Yeah, you got your sunscreen always with you.
And you got $12
then-
million in the bank for the
Yeah.
next 10 years, $120 million. And afterwards, you can look back at it and be like, I carried a golf bag around for a
Yeah.
decade.
And I never golfed.
That was crazy, but I'm rich.
and I
rich
never
now.
golfed.
And I never golfed. So this last story on money that I've got here before we take a break, this just annoys me to no end, right? This is about an 11-year-old girl, apparently, who makes about $133,000 a month. Says she's planning on retiring so that she can focus on schooling. Just reading that sentence right there is
like it.
annoying. So I don't know if you want to
I got the article, and so what does
Yeah.
she do? What does she do to
so
earn
she's
this money?
apparently she's an Australian girl named Pixie Curtis, which is kind of a cool name if you ask me.
So she makes these little doohickeys.
So I don't know if she actually makes them, right? I highly doubt. And if you saw that first picture,
hair
it looks like she's
bows and
just
fidget spinners.
right there. You go. She's just putting her name attached to this and maybe getting some ideas on what to put out there. But that first picture you showed, that just looks like the junk you find in the middle of the mall, like at a kiosk next to the monkey slamming the cymbals and doing the backflip. And like,
like
does
it.
anybody ever do fidget spinners? Anyways, I could never do it.
don't
I
know.
could never. Did you ever try? I couldn't even I could get it like maybe 2 spins and it would fall off my finger.
I mastered it in within like seconds.
Man. But this whole, I imagine these people are insufferable. This story just annoyed
Why
me. First of all,
are you hating on people you don't even know?
no, I hate it because she's not retiring. Okay, she didn't probably do a darn thing for this. This is probably her
I'm
parents.
actually more proud of this lady than that kid sleeping outside.
Her parents probably had this business and threw her in the face of it, right?
Yeah.
And now she's claiming, "Oh, I'm a millionaire." And then this is the icing on the cake here. They bought her a luxury SUV,
Put
like
her on Shark
Mercedes-Benz.
Tank. She should be one of the buyers. Can you imagine that?
Oh, an 11-year-old.
Yeah, 11-year-old with the Mavericks owner and all the other people. Let me give you some options here.
And here's that picture with the car. I don't know if you
She's
showed
like,
that
I
earlier.
like it. It's purple. I'll buy it.
She's 10 years old at the time. They bought her a luxury birthday present, and it was a freaking SUV.
Okay.
Mercedes-Benz, terrible. These people are insufferable.
Why are you always
I don't
finding
know. I saw
articles
that
of
just
kids and you hate on them?
This is the first one, I think.
But that's cool that she makes 100. I mean, I like that. That's cool. I'm down.
I just think this is her parents.
I'll buy you one of them.
I think she's just profiting
I'll buy
off
you
of her
one
kid,
from
honestly.
her. Oh yeah,
that's all this is.
It's Australia. They do that kind of stuff.
Do they?
I have no idea.
Oh man! All right, let's go ahead and take a break here.
Yeah.
Audience of one. We'll be back here shortly, I suppose. That was fun, man.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
All right.
We're not falling. We take it back to the days of yes, surely. We're holding on to what's. Every Friday, tune into Texas Ticket on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 FM with Armando Nino of Gold Lake Conroe, focusing on Montgomery County area events and places. Get a feel of the Texas spirit at the event, paired with guest and vendor interviews, event coverage, and ticket giveaways, and so much more. Join us Fridays and punch your Texas ticket. For more information on the show, visit irlonestar.com/Texas Ticket.
In the game, yo, but not to be vain. I refrain from salt grains to season up my name. We entertain for a mutual game from close range. Steady aim, my drum at your head.
Okay, we are back. Audience of one with Andrew and Dick.
Yeah, the halfway point.
Just about. Just about.
Audience of one. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. You can always reach out to us and be part of the show.
Absolutely.
Audience of one show at gmail.com. And then, Facebook, Audience of One with Dick and Andrew. We're here every Wednesday at 10 o'clock, part of the morning programming.
I'm getting some good feedback, too, by the way.
Well,
I hear from people that listen, and it's...
well, I'm one of the best. So you're lucky.
You
I'm the... What's it called? The startup
I'm just here to witness it, man.
batter, the first batter.
Leadoff.
Leadoff batter. I'm the leadoff batter. I'm the strongest one in the league. So...
Okay, if you want to look at it that way.
I try to throw as many sports references that I don't understand.
That you don't understand? Yeah.
Because I know this next segment we're going to be talking about ridiculous sports and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I don't even know if we want to call it a sport.
Yeah.
And I've actually wrestled with this of whether or not I wanted to even bring this to air because I don't want it to seem as though I am promoting this.
Well, you are promoting it. You're putting it on.
That's what I'm saying. So, and I'm talking about this new slap league.
I like it.
I figured you would.
I'm going to put a looping video for people on Facebook.
And if people don't like to see this type of violent stuff, I'm sorry, you'll have to look away. I'm going to try really, really hard. Oh, it's oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
It's absolutely brutal. So I'm gonna try really hard to not curse in this segment, but I have some pretty strong opinions on this. This is perhaps the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And what I'm referring to is I call it the slap league, but I guess it's actually called power slap. And this is the newest.
I'm on the website right now.
Yeah, this is the newest invention by Dana White. Okay. And if you don't know who Dana White is, he's the president, owner, whatever, of the UFC. And so Dana White, I mean, as a person, I know, well, he had his own slap incident, I think, on New Year's, and I think it actually delayed.
Oh, there's ladies do it too?
Yeah, there's ladies that do this too. But
I
think it actually delayed the start of this league by a couple of weeks because it was bad optics for him to slap his own girlfriend or wife.
That's a great promo.
Yeah, great. Well, yeah, I guess you could look at it that way too as a great promo. But he had his own slap incident, and they had to delay the start of this. But this league, he's credited with starting the UFC or at least bringing it to prominence. And it's ridiculous. So the premise here is basically you have two people that stand across from each other and take
I'm trying to find a video.
open hand slaps in the face
They just trade.
from another contender.
Oh my gosh.
And it is absolutely brutal. And so what I don't understand is how, one, this actually got green-lighted, especially with all the concern for head injuries these days and the CTE. As you know, this is obvious. I know it's absolutely brutal. You may want to take it down off the feed if you haven't.
Yeah,
already.
I'm dead.
Okay.
I think
you need. I can see it in this new setup. I see your.
I wanted to see how this looks legit. They have jerseys. They got
jerseys. Does not make this a legit sport. I could wear a jersey right now and say I'm a broadcaster, and I'm certainly not. Okay, so let's forget about these jerseys making it legitimate. This is dumb.
Well, I don't see how it's dumb.
Oh my God, it's terrible. So first of all,
you're such a negative person.
A lot of these guys. They basically just get one slapped and they're done. As you can imagine, you're standing there, one slap and you're done. And I think the concept here is each person gets 3 slaps if you aren't knocked out, okay, to try and knock the other person out.
You got to knock them out.
No, that you don't have to. I think there's probably some rules associated with it. But since there's so many one-shotters that I know it's hard to stop looking at it. There's so many one-shotters that the person who goes first has the
huge advantage.
obvious advantage.
Yeah.
And you know how it's decided who goes first?
They flip a coin?
A coin flip.
I like it.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So even if you
Is there weight classes
go
and
s-
everything? Or is
yes, they're trying to legitimize it by doing weight classes. But if you're not the one who goes first and you do happen to survive a slap, right?
Yeah.
And you have 30 seconds to regain your composure, and then it's your turn to go slap the other guy. And I'm thinking, how much composure could you had after you just got your bell rung? So even if you didn't, quote, get knocked out, are you going to be able to perform at your best and give a good slap when you're just barely standing there? This is the dumbest thing ever. And it's all based off of a coin flip. Who goes first?
I like it.
And they apparently they stand with their hands behind their back slightly, holding some kind of
Yeah, I see it.
towel.
Yeah.
Like that's supposed to add some kind of protection. They have some earplugs in and like a mouthpiece, like that's going to do anything to prevent massive concussions.
What's interesting about this is I could see guys doing this at the local bar. You know,
That's
like,
exactly what this
I
seems
can
like.
see this. I can see like, oh, this is a unique thing at our bar. We do a slap night. And you're like, what's that? Anyone could participate.
You're exactly
but
right.
now with this, do you think it's something he wants to add to the UFC, or is it more of just like
I think this is his
New venture.
This is his new venture. He wants it to take on a life of its own. And honestly, I'm not sure what type of guy would be interested in doing this. Okay, and I think because there's money behind it, and I don't know how much money they're actually getting, but I do think it's incentivizing guys that maybe are down on their luck or downtrodden. Like,
Hey, you wanna make
I'll
$500? Get slapped in the
get
face.
and get on TV.
Yeah.
I'll go out and get slapped in the face and potentially have permanent brain damage.
Oh no, I get how stupid this is. I get your.
Oh my gosh! So
But I think it's great.
and
I
it's
think
on TBS.
It's America.
It's on TBS.
I can't believe
though.
it's on TV. I
Yes.
can't believe they already have Monster as a sponsor. It's great.
Yeah, and they try to legitimize it like these guys are athletes. They're not athletes. Like there's no amount of training that you can do
Yeah,
to
you
make
can.
yourself take a better slap or something, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I bet
there's
there
obviously
is.
some guys who you've heard about boxers or something like that could take a punch better than others, but you can't really train yourself. I don't know. And the thing I think is the most disgusting in my opinion about
I'll
this
take it
is
down,
I
too.
can't stop looking at it, is it's defenseless. At least in UFC, and I'm not a UFC
Well, you
guy.
know the games you
at
play
least
the
have
kids,
the option
slap
to
game,
try
you know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
The
yeah,
slap-
yeah.
so it's just like an upgraded version.
A much
I
upgraded
think,
version.
I think hopefully it doesn't become like a Tide Pod thing at the schools where it's like, this is going to be, meet me in the bathroom after third period, we're doing a slap off.
Right. No, I think you're onto something there also.
I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen.
but they stand
'cause-
there defenseless. These guys don't have the
Yeah.
ability to defend themselves.
think this is great.
And it's stupid. But you brought up the children at school. I think that could be a potential problem too,
yeah.
because kids try and
Easy.
emulate stuff.
Oh, easy.
All the time, and they're like, "Oh, did you see that slap league? Hey, I'll challenge you to a slap."
Well,
yeah, and then the
isn't
teacher's
there-
gonna have
well,
to break
no,
up
what's that
this war on
game? What's the
slapping
whole
each other.
game that kids play? The like you do the hole.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't put your finger through it, you get a free
you
hit.
punch, or you just put
You get a
something
free
on your
hit.
body somewhere. You make the circle with your finger, and if your friend
Yeah.
looks at it, you get to smack them. But that's usually like a punch in the arm or a Charlie horse.
Yeah, not in the face.
This
but
is in the face.
I think. Well, what's entertaining about this? It makes me think of
I don't find anything.
the
entertaining
gladiator
about it.
in all of us. Like we want to watch the gladiators compete.
Sure.
Like, or especially I don't know how women feel about it, but I know that's something like ingrained in dudes. Like we love watching dudes hit each other. Like football, great example. Boxing, UFC. Hockey. They don't fight as much, but the fight part of hockey was so exciting for me. I was like, because it's a whole nother skill set. And I was like, oh, I love how
But
they.
you said a word there, skill. There ain't no skill in this.
The slapping thing, I think what's interesting is the longevity of it, because it just takes that one ear pop, and you're like, hey, you won't be able to hear out your left ear for the rest of your life if you keep getting hit like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of
So-
these guys are on a road to some permanent damage, honestly. And there was one video, I didn't see it there, but the guy got hit, and he immediately went into the fencing pose
yeah.
with his hands
I love
curled
it.
like this. I mean,
That's so
that is.
scary.
Oh, and then he got up and kind of walked off, and I'm sure he's going to try and do it again in the next round. You know, it's absolutely terrible. But I do think this is a downward spiral, though. I don't think this has anywhere to go, because if I did say that there's not a lot of skill to it, but if this does continue to move
It's
forward, there's
gotta
guys who are
be-
going to go, I'm going to try and get really good at this, and they're going to try and refine their technique to
Yeah,
the
it's
point
got to
where
be
it's
incorporated with something else.
it's
Like if it's
all
just
gonna be-
slapping, it's like, to me that's only about an hour of entertainment.
That's what I'm saying. It's not
So
entertaining.
how do
It
you
can't be.
get?
And again, if these guys
Well,
continue
that's what I'm saying.
to,
Like, you do UFC, right? You put on a UFC show because a lot of people don't realize when they do title cards, there's a lot more fights, but you don't air it.
Right.
So if you're there during the whole day, it's like, oh, we'll interrupt it with a slap.
Oh yeah,
And
so
then,
it's like
I can see them doing that.
it's like an audience and one inside of a morning show.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see that. I can see that. But I can see guys getting better at this and refining the technique to the point where somewhat of a skill. That all it is is going to be one shotters,
you know,
right? Like they're just all it's going to be one
I just
slaps
looked it up.
and they're
Will
done.
Smith is going to be a participant in it.
Yeah. And the Oscars are coming up, by the way. And the Oscars are like the Grammys for movies, by the way.
I didn't know that. I don't even know what Grammys are. Wait,
yeah, exactly.
But no, it makes me think of all the silly things we did as kids, coming up with interesting games that are just y'all. Like, it's not like a worldwide sport. It's not, y'all made up these rules because we didn't have all the equipment to play football, but we had a football. Yeah. So you do the roof thing or roof game, whatever that is. RoofBall. Or like, if you could throw it over the fence. Or no, what's it called? Remember that like Jackpot? Remember we always play Jackpot? You ever played that game? Mm-hmm. Where like one person
I may have called it something else.
Well, yeah, one person had the football, and then like 15 kids would be on the other end, and you yell out a number like, "All right, 2,000," and you throw it up, and you try to catch it.
No, it sounds awesome.
And if you get it, you get 2,000 points in the first tip.
Hey, cool. I like that.
It's and then if you win, you get to be the thrower. It's just wasting time. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But it's I like it. I think it's funny that people want to watch it. And
I don't know how much they do. I don't know what the ratings are like.
That's what I'm saying. They need to put it with something else.
Well, Dana White's, say what you will about him, he's a heck of a business guy, right? He's a heck of a businessman. Well, so I don't know off the top of my head. I think he bought the UFC in like the late '90s or early 2000s.
I mean, he had a great product. So it's like it's not like he revolutionized.
When he bought
combat sports.
When he bought it, it was basically bankrupt. And I think he basically just bought the name. And so he's taken it from what it was in the early 2000s to what it is now, which is a huge, huge sport.
Yeah.
Well, like it or love it, or like it or hate it, it's massive. It's basically replaced boxing.
Well, that's what
in a lot of ways.
In my idea, and I enjoy watching combat sports. Like, to me, it was already a good product because they had all. What Dana White did to me was it was able to put it on a bigger screen for people to watch.
Sure.
So it's not like he changed the game. I think I like it though. People give him a lot of props. It's like, I don't know, man. He already had a good product. Like,
well, so when it first started in the 90s, I was in high school, and I remember liking the original UFCs with like Hoist Gracie and Ken Shamrock. No, there were no gloves.
There were gis.
In fact,
there
were no rules. It was, two rules: no biting, no eye gouging. Go. And that was it. There were no weight classes. There were no gloves. Yeah. So you could conceivably have like a 600-pound sumo wrestler fighting against a guy who looked like me. And they did it. It was disgusting. And, 16-year-old me is going, this is awesome. I've since kind of lost interest in it.
Definitely more entertaining than boxing.
Well, it's basically replaced
boxing's a lot of fun to go watch. I've watched a lot of local boxing. They have boxing here in Conroe sometimes. It's a lot of fun to go. But UFC stuff, it's kind of amazing just the amount of training you have to do, because it's not like you ride a bike and then you're trained that day. It's like, no, you actually have to fight somebody.
That is a skill, and you have the ability to defend yourself. Slap League, you ain't defending yourself. You're just standing there.
Yeah.
It's so bad. I can't, like I said, I don't think it has anywhere to go.
When I see a slap league, I think of like the show Jackass. It's like they're gonna hurt themselves. Let them do it. It's entertaining for some people. Go for it. But if I was Dana White, I would have the slap league involved with UFC to get it.
And maybe it is. Maybe it's in the or maybe that's where it'll end up.
Because I don't see myself sitting down and paying pay-per-view to watch people slap each other. But I will sit down and watch the whole fight all night, and then have a side thing with slapping.
Yeah.
But games like that exist. I mean, what do you? It's funny. We can talk a little bit about this because I enjoy watching baseball. They changed some of the rules in baseball to make it more entertaining, to make it faster.
Yeah, they've attempted a shot clock or pitch clock.
And like the XFL's going on right now, and that's usually the talking point when you're watching the XFL. It's like, oh, this is a different rule than the NFL. So let's explain this how it makes the game better. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, well, how many times are you going to change the game where it becomes not part of the game, or it's not the original game?
The game is so different than what it originally was. I mean, they've done that in the NFL a lot too. I mean, it used to be you knew what a catch was just when you saw it. Now they've had so many rules around what an actual catch is that nobody even knows what a catch is anymore.
Yeah, football to me is very confusing, especially when it comes down to like crucial moments where it's like, oh, that's 2 feet on the ground. Like, which league is that? Is that college football, or is that NFL?
1 foot in for college, 2
I don't really know.
NFL.
And like,
I mean, if you follow it enough, I guess you probably know. But
Yeah, baseball, the pitch clock is kind of throwing me off. It's funny to watch spring training games where people are not following the pitch clock, and it's like, oh, that's right, we got to do that.
Yeah, and I think it has sped up the game from what I've heard.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
sped it up tremendously, which will tell you that the pitchers are the ones slowing the game down.
Well, the batters are too.
Well,
Because the batter, after every swing, they can step out of the box. And
Now
be
he's
like,
not allowed to or something?
Well, they have like 10 seconds to
Oh, okay.
reset. Like the pitch clock is for both of them. And I think right now the most violations are on the batters because they're used to doing.
I'll
their,
have to look that up maybe for next week.
But they're also the shift change. You can't do the infield shift, which changes a lot
Yep.
for a lot of players.
Have a strategy there.
And makes the game go by faster, more runs and
Yep.
things like that.
Sure.
But you coming up with cool sports, go for it. I mean, like you go over to Europe, handball's a sport over there. We don't touch handball here.
No, it's
and
legit.
Then you have the wildest one I've seen. I think it's over in East Asia, where they do volleyball with their feet,
Sounds
and,
awesome.
and it's nuts. They kick really high and they flick this ball, and I'm like, man,
They're all on their backs?
well, they're doing everything. They're doing somersaults. They're
Oh, so they can stand
they
and then
stand,
like,
but they can't use your hands. So it's like you use your head or your feet.
Wow.
So when people are trying to spike it, they literally
great.
rotate their foot down to spike it. And I was like, dude, you
I'm gonna
gotta
have
be
to look
so
this up.
talented.
That's
doing
awesome.
that. Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's
crazy.
awesome.
But
Wow.
yeah, I think made up sports are fun, man.
Well, yeah, speaking of made up sports, and you brought it up earlier, is this roof ball thing.
Let's see if I can find a video.
Yeah, I didn't put anything on our run sheet for a video, but apparently roof ball was something that got started in the 90s, and it kind of hit its hiatus somewhere around 2008, 9, fizzled around for a few more years, and it looks like it's basically defunct. But it was a game that was invented by these guys up in the Oregon area, Portland, Oregon area, from what I can tell. And it's basically these guys that were just jacking around playing football.
So when you're telling me this, they are paid athletes.
I don't think these guys.
So this
were
is just
ever-
a fun game.
This is just for fun now.
Because when you mentioned this on the show notes, I was like, I kind of remember that being like an internet sensation,
It was.
funny thing. Because
It
here, I
was.
found it for people. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pull it up a little bit. So from the history of this is in 2008, and these guys, one of them worked for a TV station, so he had the truck, and what he did was
and the ability to produce this and put it together. I mean, it looks pretty slick.
yeah. So he
right?
put together this whole thing with the players,
the contestants.
all the things. Just look up 2008 Roof Ball World Championships.
Correct.
And then they're sitting there, and the game is you got to throw it on the roof and try to get it around that pipe, and then catch it.
Not necessarily around it. So they do have a different scoring system. So basically, if you throw the ball up onto the roof and it comes down and you catch it, that's 1 point.
Yeah.
If you throw it up there and it hits that pole, which is basically just like an exhaust pipe coming out.
That
out
dad's
out.
gonna be pissed.
Yeah, exactly. And it hits the pipe and you catch it, that's 5 points. Okay.
So
If
he
you're-
just hit it.
He
So
just hit it. There you go. That's 5 points. He might actually be 6 there because maybe it's 5 for hitting the pole and then 1 for catching it.
Yeah.
And then if you do the ultimate one, which is where it goes around the pipe.
Now
so
we're in a
basically,
house.
yeah, I know. What
What is
this?
going on?
You
warming up.
throw the ball, it goes up, goes around the pipe. That's 10 points. Okay. But basically, this is just a game where these guys were just throwing the ball around. Someone accidentally, threw it up on the roof, and then of course the shape of the football makes it very, very unpredictable in which way it's going to go. And so they determined this was a lot of fun. And of course, that guy threw it over the roof. So apparently there are ways to get negative points. If you throw it over the roof, that's minus
Minus
5.
five, yeah.
Minus 5. And you see how they have this old Volvo parked there in the driveway? If you hit, and that's left there on purpose, if the ball hits the car, that's minus 1.
I like it.
So earlier we need less slap league. We need more of this. This is genius. And apparently
What is that game? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what is that game they play in New York where it's almost like tennis, but you use your hand?
Oh, he hit the car.
Because handball is like a goal-on-goal game. You've seen handball, right?
I have seen it, yeah.
So, but in
I
New
don't,
York,
I'm not familiar with
there's
the
a game in New
rules.
York where they slap a ball against the wall.
Okay.
What is that called?
Wall ball.
Is it wall ball?
Yeah, I think you're talking about wall ball.
Because you can't catch it. You
No,
slap
you have
it.
to slap it, yeah.
So, but that's like a pastime in New York
Yeah,
where people have like recreational areas to play whatever that game's called.
It's like racquetball without the rackets, where you have to take
racquetball
turns.
has 3 walls.
Yeah, this is just one, but I mean, it's still
one
similar
wall.
where you've got. I think you're taking turns back and forth. But
Because you know when that
you're giving me a lot of homework assignments. Go
Well,
look
you
all
know
these
when that
odd
started, the
sports.
basketball people were pissed because it's like, can we not play Oh, we're playing slap ball right now. I want to play basketball. Oh man, we got a serious game going. Because it kind of goes down to the success of like pickleball today.
That is huge.
Where it's like you didn't know it was big until all of a sudden it's everywhere.
We're gonna have to do a segment on pickleball.
And why is it popular? Is it because you can play it when you're older and like?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk
And you
about
feel
pickleball
more
for a
active?
second, I know a little bit about it because it's big in my neighborhood.
Okay,
like
so
my neighbors will shut the street down and play pickleball.
So like I'm afraid to play because I tore my ACL, MCL, LCL, and like a bunch of other ligaments. But I was like, I can never play tennis again. Is pickleball like you do a lot of pivoting?
Well,
or-
there's a lot less movement because the court is so small,
Okay.
and you play with a partner that basically
So
you don't have to
and
move
you can't
around
slap
as much.
each other.
You can,
Okay.
but it's not part of the game. So pickleball, I think we'll do a segment on pickleball.
I'm
Let's
interested.
refrain
Well,
from that because
my wife asked
it
me
has an interesting
about it.
history and it is taken off, especially
Well, they were
since
talking
the
about,
pandemic.
I think Tom Brady's buying a team. Like, there's actually teams.
Oh, there's teams, there's leagues, there's professionals. In fact, the number
can't
one,
believe that.
the number one doubles, at least as of a few months ago, doubles team right now is a mother-daughter combination, and they're
Okay.
apparently really good. I think we should save it for another time because
well, it's
there's a
kinda
lot
like,
to it. It's pretty
well,
cool.
It's almost like there's obscene games. Like you watch that Winter Olympics game with the stone.
That's not obscene.
Well, I mean, like
That's great.
That's the most random thing I
It's
could
like
think of.
shuffleball on ice.
I know, but it's just random. You know,
It is random.
It's like, what do you want to do today? It's like, oh, let's go throw this stone around on ice, and it's like, okay, and then it's kind of like, this is kind of fun. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Well, the best
Yeah.
thing I like about RoofBall is apparently the guys that were involved had enough foresight to go and make this into a broadcast. It's great. They got a table set up.
Well, I mean,
and they're broadcasting. They've got a color commentator.
The neighborhood's having
it's
fun, man.
hilarious. And what I think is funny is the opening of that. You see a guy walking his dog, walk
Yeah,
behind.
it's like, what the
it's
heck
just in
is
the neighborhood,
this?
like, what are these kids doing? And they tried to make it a legit thing, and I think it fizzled out. I
Well,
went to
remember
their Facebook page, and
that
there hasn't been
South
anything
Park
since
movie,
2017.
the South Park guys with basketball. Remember that? They
Oh,
made
yeah.
the same idea.
It's kind of the same concept. Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved that movie.
That movie's
That movie
ridiculous.
is
But,
ridiculous. I used to quote it in college all the time. And when I say college, maybe just last week.
Well, I mean, I imagine, like, as you golf a lot, I imagine golf.
Not as much as I used to.
Well, I meant like like when people go to the course, I imagine people make up their own games. You know, there's different play styles of golf.
Sure.
Because I
Yeah.
just learned I learned this weekend what's best ball, the difference between best ball and scramble. I thought they were the same thing, but no, they're not.
No.
And I was like, well, what other games are out there? Because I think when you sent me the notes, I was talking to you like Tiger Woods and what's his name, the other.
Rory McIlroy?
Yeah, they're developing some type of
It's a league.
thing that they go into a stadium.
That I don't
and-
know. You
But it
mentioned
has,
that earlier. I'm
it has
not aware
golf
of that.
in it.
Yeah,
like
it is a
but
golf
I don't
game,
think
yes.
they set up 18 holes inside the stadium. Because, you know, when you go to Top Golf, they give you those games, and it's fun. And every time I talk to one of my buddies runs Northeast Top Golf of Texas, and he's like, you got to try out the Angry Birds. I'm like, I'm never going to do the Angry Birds, man. He's like, well, that's the new thing. I'm like, why would I ever want to do that? But he gives me free Top Golf.
I play the Angry Birds only because it levels the playing field quite a bit if I go with the family.
Oh, yeah, so I
And-
get that.
yeah.
But I'm in like...
But just two guys going out, hey,
Yeah,
bro,
you
let's
want-
play Angry
you wanna
Birds.
do some Angry Birds?
No,
I
you're
mean,
not
I'm
doing
like, I don't really care about that.
No,
but,
it is definitely it helps out when you have players of different varying skill levels. It does.
Well, it's interesting because it's like I can see because he was telling me they do leagues,
Yeah, I think so. I've
like
heard that.
bowling leagues almost, and I was like, really? He's like, yeah, they're becoming really popular where if it's around a college campus, like if it's near a college campus, like a lot of kids do it, young kids, because it's like they do leagues where you get beer. You know, it's like $30 a month or a week.
I'm in.
And it's like they give you like a pitcher of beer, and then you have to golf anytime during the week. And you show up like, here's my card, here's my league card.
Sweet. So you go and you hit the shot at Top Golf. If you get it in, great. If you don't, the guy next to you just turns and hauls off and slaps you. That would be great. Well, you have 30 seconds to recover and try and make that shot
Have you
again.
seen the Ultimate Frisbee stuff?
Oh yeah, I can't do that.
Where it's like a legit thing now.
Yeah, I can't do that. I cannot
There's
throw
a
those things
YouTuber I
with-
like. It's like I think
flip.
it's Marquis Brownlee. I think that's his name. He reviews tech stuff, but he was like randomly one episode I was watching. He's like, oh, I got to get going to a Ultimate Frisbee game, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, and he started talking about it, and he's like, yeah, I'm on a. He started going more into it, and I go, they pay you to do that? Like,
Well, I don't know about pay, but it's like league for bowling. You pay money in and you place.
No,
and you
like
place
he's on
money
a
back.
he's on a team. Like they travel.
Oh yeah,
So
Well, that's more than league then.
Yeah.
That's like semi-pro basically.
So,
I'm so terrible at it. I've picked up one of those discs and thrown it, and it just sort of flies
Yeah,
out. I mean,
there's some wild games out there.
they throw them long distance.
Oh yeah, well it's
too.
like disc golf. Disc golf's a popular
Oh, I thought that's what you were
thing.
talking about.
No, ultimate frisbee is like a football game, but with a frisbee.
Oh, I
You're
misunderstood
running.
you.
You're on
then.
a football field, and you're running.
Oh no, that's awesome.
yeah.
Sorry, I
you never
completely
heard of ultimate frisbee?
I guess not. No, I thought you were talking about frisbee golf.
Yeah, it's
No,
like
it sounds awesome though. Well, we've definitely come up with some cool games here. Is there any game that maybe you made up as a kid that you played
I mean, I'm trying to think. Like
that had like some cool side stories to it? The only thing I can think of,
like drinking games.
right?
But
we had this one with a ping pong ball and some cups.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like card games, and then I'm trying to think.
So-
I imagine as a kid we made a game where it's
Yeah,
like
I think I did too. But the only one that comes to mind is me and my cousin Garrett. So if he's listening, he's going to enjoy this. We used to play the Nintendo game Gauntlet. I don't know if you're familiar with Gauntlet.
It's yeah.
Okay. It was a fairly popular game. And we would play, he'd come over and spend the night on like a Friday night or something. We'd play and we'd get to like level 20 or 30 and we're like, man, we're doing pretty good, but like there's a lot of levels. Let's see how far we can get. And so, a month or so would go by and it would be like, hey, you want to spend the night tonight? Maybe we can try and get a little bit further on Gauntlet. See if we can get past level 30 or something. So he'd come over, we'd just play and we'd set up and we'd go level to level. And we had to time it out to where none of us died at the same time. So if he was fighting a big boss, I had to like make sure I was off to the side and get over. And we had this down. We went all day one day on Saturday and he spent the night on Friday. And it's like, you want to spend the night again? 2 nights and let this sucker run? We'll just keep the Nintendo hot all night,
Yeah.
We're on level like 57. We beat our old record. Let's just leave it going. Yeah. And we'd put the controllers off to the side, and we'd try and beat our record. We played one weekend. I remember this, probably 48 consecutive hours. Well, took a break for sleeping.
Dang.
And we got up to like level 120 something. And it
And
was
you broke the game.
It wasn't ending. The levels just kind of kept repeating themselves.
That's how the game.
And I'm like, Garrett, I don't think there's an ending to this. Is this game not in? We didn't know. And I thought about this the other day, and I looked it up. And, of course, now with the internet, there's all kinds of stuff. And it's like, yeah, no, the game never ends. Of course, we didn't read the internet back in 1993 when we were playing.
Yeah.
That was the worst waste of time ever. We kept going. It's like, finally, we just said, I'm pulling the plug, man. You felt horrible doing it because you just spent the last 48 hours playing. But finally, he was like, I got to go home. I got school tomorrow, and I guess this was a waste of a weekend. And it was like, I'm pushing the button. That was a waste of time. So that's the craziest thing I think that I ever did.
I remember in our neighborhood we had a park, and I remember we used to play a game at night, and there's 2 sides to the park, and each one had like a trash can, and we had to put little balls in there without getting tagged.
Yeah.
But you could sneak around, and then after like 30 minutes, we count how many did we get in each one.
Oh, cool.
And that's
Okay.
who would win. But like you could do it where we did it at night because we could sneak. So it's kind of like you could sneak over to the trash can because you couldn't stay at the trash can. So everyone was in play. And so it's like you had to go to each trash can and like pick out the ball and drop the ball, but you had to like sneak it in.
How many playing at a time?
Oh, I think like at one point I remember we had like 20-something kids.
Yeah, I love the games when you could just have a ton of
Well,
people
yeah, because I
involved.
think that's why we started doing it was because there wasn't even like a team. It was just kind of like
All the neighborhood kids.
We're just doing this.
Yeah.
And
I used to play a game at camps called Capture the Flag. I loved Capture the Flag. That one because you could play with the entire camp of like 200 people. That was
So,
super cool.
I'm showing.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
you bring
this.
up that frisbee.
So this is
okay.
the frisbee.
That looks legit right there.
This-
This guy
yeah,
just
this-
laid flat out to the ground to catch a pass.
It's like football, but like you keep passing it, and then you try to get into the end zone, and you get
No tackling.
No tackling, but you can. Like if you're on the defense, you can push the ball or the disc down.
Yeah, you slap it down or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's incomplete passes. If he didn't catch it, then you got to
They-
go back to the line of scrimmage or
Well,
whatever.
no, it turns into the other team.
Oh, wow.
Real quick. It's a real quick
So
game.
it's back and forth,
Yeah.
quick.
So he got it, so you have to give him space, and then
Yeah, I think 20-year-old Andrew would have been interested in this. Although, again, I'm not really good at throwing the frisbee.
see how he
Yeah.
denied it. So
Yeah.
now,
Get out of here.
yeah, but
No, not today.
I mean that's a big deal. People do that. So
Wow, man. We were all over the place in today's show. I
yeah, I
think.
liked it.
Yeah, I'm glad
liked
you
it.
did. I don't know that we really even stuck to our run sheet at all, but that's all right.
Well, there's Power Slap. Check it out. Tell us what you think.
No, nobody check
If-
it out.
if we
Please,
get
no
it-
one listen.
If we get enough
Or watch,
likes
sorry.
on Facebook, if we hit 100 likes this week, we'll do the slap game live in the studio, and I get to go first. So, got to make sure.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's funny. So, you want to close the show?
Yeah, man. Just remind everybody we are Audience of One, Andrew and Dick. Wednesdays, 10 a.m., 106.1, 104.5, irlonestar.com, Facebook, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. You search Audience of One with Andrew and Dick. We'll see you guys next week. Oh, I do real quick want to promote next week. Unless something goes awry, we are going to have our first guest.
Oh, yeah. Who is it?
Steve Larkin.
Steve Larkin.
Yes, he is a local.
Everyone knows who Steve Larkin is.
Well, they might when they see him. He is an actor, lives here locally. He's been in. He was on the George Lopez show. He's been on the Hallmark Channel as Santa Claus. He's actually been in the silver screen, big screen.
Oh, wow, he's legit. He's typed in Steve Larkin, and he's...
Yeah, so we got him next week. He's going to be a phenomenal interview. So everybody, make sure to tune in next week for Steve Larkin.
I like it. All right, man, I'll see you later.
Absolutely, man. Next week. Bye, bud.
Yo, we still the same with a little fame, a little change in the household name, but ain't too much change.